Today, I'm going to be fully covering the golf club that's taking the golf world by storm. Tour players are using them, manufacturers are all in, and golfers on the internet are hyping them up like they're the future of the game. And of course, we're talking about mini drivers. But here are the real questions. What do they actually do? Who are they actually for? And should you consider putting one in your bag? Well, my name's Aaron, I'm a certified club fitter, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know about mini drivers. So let's start with the basics. Some of this stuff you might already know, some of this stuff might surprise you. As far as dimensions, a mini driver sits between a driver and a 3-wood in size, usually between 300 and 320 cc's compared to a full-size driver in today's game, which is normally 460 cc's. The shaft is shorter than a regular driver, usually between 43 and 44 inches instead of the 45 to 45.5 inches of a standard driver. Now, what does it actually do? It's designed to be an off-the-tee club. However, in the past few years, from a few different manufacturers, they've designed them to be a little bit more off-the-deck friendly, so it has a little bit more versatility now than it ever has. Basically, they're designed to have more control than a driver, but more distance than a 3-wood. Typical lofts are going to be anywhere from 11.5 to 13.5 degrees, so it's going to have a little bit more penetrating ball flight than a 3-wood. However, it's going to offer a little bit more forgiveness because of the size of the head. Think control meets distance meets versatility. Now, to answer one of the main questions, who are these clubs for? And the answer is a few different people. First of all, if you struggle with driver dispersion, especially if you have a two-way miss with driver, some of them go right, some of them go left, this club might be one you want to check out. It's going to get on the ground a little bit quicker, meaning there's less time for it to be in the air to go offline one way or the other. This club could also be for people who are generally okay off the tee, but they want something that's considered a fairway finder. A perfect example would be somebody that plays maybe in a lot of high pressure situations or tournaments, maybe in a high pressure situation towards the end of a round, maybe they're tied on the top of the leaderboard. They want a club that they know that they can hit a little low squeezer out there and they know exactly what it's going to do. This might be a great option. This club could also be great. Now, it depends on the model that you get, but some of these models are going to be really good for people who hit the 3-wood really well off the deck, but they want a little bit more distance out of it. And the reason I say to make sure you're looking at the model that you're getting is there's a big difference between the Titleist and the new TaylorMade R7 mini driver. If you take a look at the new TaylorMade mini driver, it has a lot more rounded bottom edge, meaning it's a little bit harder to hit off the deck, but it might be a little bit easier to hit off a tee. Versus if you look at the Titleist GT280 that just came out, it has a lot more flush leading edge, to a little bit easier to hit off the ground because it's designed a lot more like a fairway wood than a driver. And then the last person I would say it's for is somebody that plays really, really tight courses. Maybe their home track is really, really tight and they need a consistent club that is going to get on the ground and start rolling instead of carrying too far. Or maybe there's just narrow landing areas where there's really specific spots where you have to land it. It's going to be a little bit easier with a mini driver than a full driver. Now, who are these clubs not for? A mini driver is not going to help everyone, and I think people need to understand that before putting one in their bag. Adding a mini driver, instead of being beneficial, might just kind of clump your dispersion patterns and clump your gapping. So the two main groups that I would say mini drivers are not for, starting with number one, is going to be your slower swing speed players who need a little bit of help launching the ball in the air. If your swing speed's on the lower side, chances are a 3-wood might not even launch high enough, and you might want to look at something like a 5-wood or even a 7-wood. So if you're going from, let's say, a 5-wood that's 18 degrees of loft to a mini driver that's harder to hit off the deck, and it's only, let's say 12.5 degrees of loft, that's going to be so much harder to hit off the deck, and it's just not going to make sense for your game. If you don't swing it fast enough, it's just going to be a stinger every time, and while that can be kind of fun to hit sometimes, it's not a practical shot. And the other group of people that I would say mini drivers are not for are people who already have a really, really good 3-wood driver setup. I've seen this a decent amount. People will come in asking to get fit for a mini driver, and I have no problem doing that. We have all the new ones to fit for, but I'll ask them what the problem is with their current setup, and they'll say, oh, nothing. I hit my driver great, I hit my 3-wood great, I hit my 5-wood great. And then as a fitter, I kind of question why we're doing this, if we're actually gonna gain anything from the fitting for a mini driver. Now listen, if you just came to me and said, I don't really know if I'm gonna use this, but I want it because it's cool, absolutely, we can definitely do that. But I've talked some people out of getting a mini driver because it wouldn't suit their game. Also, they already had a 3-wood that they absolutely stripe and it does everything that they need it to do. And then lastly, the people that mini drivers are not great for are people that want it to be a second shot off the deck club, but they're not great ball strikers. Now, I talked about the Titleist GT a little bit, that's designed to be a little bit more like a fairway wood and be able to hit off the deck a little bit easier. It's still not going to be anywhere near as easy as an actual fairway wood. So if you're not the most confident ball striker to begin with, it's probably not going to be the greatest idea to get a mini driver to hit off the deck. Now, I don't think that I'm going to personally put this in my bag. I have the TaylorMade BRNR Mini Driver, 13.5 degrees with the Kylie White 70 gram extra stiff shaft, tipped an inch. But for the sake of this video, I built this, took it out to the course, tested it on Trackman a bunch just to kind of see what the numbers looked like compared to my driver and my 3-wood, and here were the results. It spun a little bit more than my driver, which is exactly what I expected it to do. It spun right around 29 to like 3,200 RPMs, which is exactly what I would be looking for something like this to do. Off the deck, it was carrying anywhere between 250 and 270 yards, usually rolling out to 285 to 295 yards. And then off the tee, if I really wanted to go after it, I could get it out there to 305, 310 yards, but for me, that would not be the purpose of this club. I would want it to be, like I said before, that low squeezer in a high pressure situation to get me out there about 280, 285 yards. And to its credit, it did that very, very well. Now, obviously, I'm gonna recommend getting fit for one, make sure it's the right setup for you. I think that's why it works so well for me, is because the shaft and everything is the right setup for me. But in general, the club head did exactly what I wanted it to do. It was hit that low squeezer out there, about 200, same thing as off the deck pretty much. It landed about 260 yards, rolled out to 285. So would I put it in my bag? Well, that really depends on the course that I'm playing and what kind of format I'm playing in. Now, if I'm just playing with my friends, I'm probably not putting this in the bag. I'm just gonna hit driver everywhere and see what happens. But if I was playing in a tournament at a course that maybe wasn't very long, I would consider putting this in my bag. Chances are, if it's a shorter course, I wouldn't need my 3-wood much anyway, and it would just be another second option off the tee. So, should you put a mini driver in the bag? If one of these things describes you, either don't trust your driver, you love hitting your 3-wood but you want more distance, you play courses where accuracy is everything, or you want a tee club for windy or pressure rounds, then a mini driver might be a great option for you. Now, I am a club fitter, so I wouldn't be doing my duty if I didn't say this. If you are going to consider a mini driver, please go get fit for one. Make sure you're getting the right shaft for you. Make sure you're getting the right grip, the right hosel setting, the right loft, all that stuff. Make sure you're going and getting it optimized for your game. So overall, yeah, mini drivers, pretty hot right now. And for the most part, I think it's justified. I've seen people gain 20, 30 yards over their 3-wood and gain a lot of consistency compared to their driver. So go check them out and you might be surprised how well it slots into your lineup. If you found this helpful, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below. And if you have one or have tested one in the past, drop a comment, let me know how it went. I've got more videos coming soon about club reviews, fitting breakdowns, and player-specific setups. So make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. And until next time, peace out.